Share these.
Are everybody's microphones on? Frank, your mic? Mary Ann? No, your microphone?
I think they're red. You ready? If it's red, right? Is that it?
You ready to start the speech? Ready.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the January 15th, 2026 Inland Wetlands Watercourse Commission to order. First order of business is Happy New Year to everyone on the commission and in the audience, and those who might be listening via Zoom or television, whatever. Stephen Molinelli, Chair, present. Russ Davenport, Vice Chair.
Present.
Jeffrey Lippincott, Secretary.
Present.
Frank Oliveri.
Present.
Gary Paganelli.
Present.
Matt Clausen, absent. Jamie Colligan.
Present.
Mary Ann Marino.
Present.
And we have a new member I'd like to welcome, and we've spoken, Kevin Bergio.
Present.
Thank you. Under agenda review, Jeff, do you have anything?
You'll find on your desk tonight print-offs of two separate communications, one from the Farmington River Watershed Association and one concerning the, I'm sorry,
No,
my
go ahead.
notes are redundant, but you've got the two emails, correct?
Right.
The hydrilla, the
Yes,
East
yes.
Twin hydrilla
Thank you.
study. Yeah.
And secondly, we just want to add a spot at the, under other business later in the night for both Jeff as the wetlands agent that attended the Super Water Group meeting, and Jeremy, who basically chaired it, to discuss a little bit of that meeting as well.
Great.
Okay.
I was there.
Yes,
but
in
they-
a
But they were in charge.
hat capacity. Yeah,
All right, and
Kevin was there too.
yep, that's right.
I'd like to allow a little bit of time for some kind of discussion about the Highland Lake Watershed Association newsletter And if there's any way we can become more involved in it, and Mary Ann and Jamie will bring that message back, but if we think there's a need, there's a particular article in here that I'll make reference to later on, that I think our new member, Kevin, might be able to be beneficial in terms of being part of that discussion, but we'll get to it when we do. Okay, we have no public hearing. The next order of business would be approval of minutes. Is there a motion?
Well, I just want to make, not to belabor it, these are very pithy, which of course, I'm sure we all appreciate. I just would like to make a recommendation. Now that we get these wonderful staff reports from you guys, the discussion surrounds what's in the staff report. And so I would recommend that when we file the minutes, we actually attach the staff reports to them. And if we discuss the staff reports, make mention of them. Because, you know, a year from now, if somebody comes to these minutes, they're gonna be like, oh, somebody made a motion to approve, but there's no real kind of meat on the bones about what the discussion might have been.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Not a bad idea.
Videos are always available too for
Right.
rewatching, and I refer to those a lot, but
Yeah.
sure, we can do that.
Thanks.
You know, part of it is also, and it's not a negative comment, but in the past, the minutes were very extensive and very detailed. Now they're not, and so the staff report sort of supplements the information contained or lack of contained in the minutes. So it's a good point, Mary Ann, thank you.
Just a clarification for you, Mr. Chairman, we do have election of officers on the agenda. We don't have to do it tonight,
Good.
but, okay.
Good. Do we want to do it tonight? Why don't we think about it and do it next month? Okay?
Okay.
Okay, consensus, thank you. Approval of minutes, there a motion?
I'll make a
Any
motion.
modifications?
I'll second it.
All those in favor of approval of the minutes? Consistent, one abstention? Thank you. Okay, let me put that there, let me move this here. No public hearings, no old business. Under new business application, may I make a suggestion? It should be at 26-41, shouldn't it be, for being new
All of
business?
them. Every single item.
You got it right.
No, 25-41. It came in at the end of 2025.
So they
So
keep-
it is technically a 25 application because
And
we
the next
received
one?
it in the office
And
in
the next one?
2025.
George Clausen.
The same, I think they all
Same
started.
thing.
Yeah.
Our system, our permit system gives it the numbers. So
Still in the
it's based on
calendar year.
calendar year.
Calendar year,
It came
okay.
in before the end of the last calendar year.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Under new business, application 25-41, the applicant is Anthony Matthews at 154 East Wakefield Boulevard, and the proposal is to raise an existing home 4 feet by lifting it off the foundation and adding to the exterior concrete block foundation wall. Is there anybody here from this application?
Actually,
Thank you. You want to bring up a second chair if you don't mind? This way both of you can sit.
Steve,
Thank
I
you,
need
Jeff.
to recuse myself from this. This is a company that I work for.
Okay,
D'Angelo Builders is represented here, and that's half of the company I work for, so.
okay,
Sit
All right.
this one out.
okay.
Russ is gonna recuse himself.
All right, for the record, Russ Davenport has recused himself. Would you gentlemen like to introduce yourselves individually, and then we'll go from there?
Sure. I'm John Magnoli, president of D'Angelo Building Company. I'm the contractor on this project.
Kurt Benson, my wife and I, Kurt Benson, my wife and I own 154 East
Okay.
Wakefield Boulevard.
Okay,
So really, the nature of this project is there's no change to any part of the exterior of the home. All that's happening is we are going in, we are lifting the entire home approximately 4 feet. We're going to be adding 4 feet of concrete block around the perimeter, just building that foundation up. And that's kind of really the extent of it.
That's it.
And then obviously doing the structural work on the interior of the home. No materials are planned to be stored on site at any point. We are planning to have erosion control measures along the waterfront. I believe that there's a packet that was submitted that kind of details locations and that sort of thing. But we're happy to submit to any questioning that you guys have and would love to field those.
Anybody?
What's the largest piece of equipment out there? You won't have any excavators or anything like that, right?
We're not having any excavators. There may be a Bobcat. You know, the contractor that's actually performing that work may need to move some material around, just because they are gonna be using cribbing, so beams and things of that nature with hydraulic jacks. Everything is gonna be installed again on the interior of the building, scaffolding and so forth. But it's not going to leave a heavy footprint.
I know the property, and I think we all do. You're very narrow from the building to your property line. Is there any remote possibility that you're gonna disturb a neighbor's property at all? You know, of course, you're really working in tight quarters.
Understood. At this time, we do not believe that there's going to be any issue or any impact to any of the neighbors. We really don't anticipate that.
My boundary on one side, I believe, is 12 or 13 feet, and the other side is closer, but that's my good friend Rich Speziali. He's aware of what's going on, and he's gonna let me use power, because we gotta...
So they're aware of,
Yeah, we're very good friends, Rich and I, and his brother Bob, and his sister Linda and John,
okay.
so...
When do you plan on doing this project?
We were targeting March of this year to take action again, assuming that everything is...
And how much time do you think you'll need to get the house up and back down on a foundation?
You know, I don't anticipate it would be a very long time, you know? I mean, to actually do the jacking up, I mean, I don't know.
A month, probably?
Yeah, give us a month to do the job. Again, it should go pretty quick. It's not like we're jacking up part of the house where you have to allow settling and do it over time. This should go fairly quickly in terms of actually jacking up. Mason's got to get there, put his stuff in, and then we set the house back down. Maybe a few weeks to do that work. Once that happens, it's interior stuff. So.
Gary, anything?
No, it's a simple project. Simple project.
One of the comments on staff report said that it could be an agent determination. Do we want to bring these people, this application, I'm trying to, just bear with me for a minute. It was submitted in December, so technically, we accepted it in December.
You're accepting it now. It came in, I think, after the meeting date of your December meeting, so
It
this
says
would
it
be...
was submitted December 15th.
Have a meeting.
I know that, that's my point.
But correct me if I'm wrong, we can accept and approve in one meeting.
Talk louder, Mary, and I
No,
didn't hear.
it has to be on an agenda, and there has to be a
Oh,
14-day
okay.
delay. What you can do is send it to the agent.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, I don't remember the date of whatever.
I'm only looking at what's on here.
Yeah, and I
That's
just
why-
don't remember what your wetland meeting date would have been in December. But I'm fairly certain this came in maybe the day of your meeting, and we had
don't know.
already
Yeah.
canceled.
16th, I believe.
Yours was supposed to be the 16th, it came in the day before, we probably already canceled the meeting. So it's getting accepted tonight, is really what it comes down to.
And my understanding, and we should have this discussion now, my understanding is that because the meeting was canceled for a variety of whatever reasons, and let's say there was a lack of a quorum, another reason for a cancellation, then if the applicant submitted the application, redundant, in a timely manner, then we automatically accepted it at the canceled meeting. Is that accurate or inaccurate?
Yes, if there was the proper amount of time between the submission date and the date of that meeting that didn't occur. And again, I'm not looking at the calendar, so I can't tell you what that is.
It's to the 12th. It looks on OpenGov like it was submitted on the 12th.
This came in on the 12th,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so we may have not had business, and that's why we canceled your meeting, and then this came in between. So, yeah, I guess if that's the case, if there was enough time in there, then it automatically got accepted at your next regularly scheduled meeting, which would have been the
So
December.
do we know if this application fell into that category?
I'd have to look it up. I gotta look at when your last meeting date was.
I'll wait.
It was the 18th is what it was supposed to have been?
Was supposed to be on December 18th.
Okay. So I don't know if the fee came in late, 'cause I don't
yeah.
think we had it as a complete application at that point.
All right, that's a committee kind of discussion, but the timing of it just made sense to bring it up now. All right, we have a choice. Do we want to accept the application and then move on it next month? Or do we want to make it an agent determination and let Jeff handle it?
I think it's a big enough project that we should accept it and vote on it next month. Just me.
Okay. Anybody disagree?
I disagree. I don't feel there's anything really being disturbed. The only thing that we have, that we're looking at is just the erosion control.
So no
That's
public
it.
hearing either.
Just the erosion control.
Okay.
I mean, in all honesty, it's not like they're digging the whole foundation out. They're not really doing much.
No. My other concern was, you mentioned the Spezialis agreed with it. The other side, your neighbors? on
They're
the other
from
side?
New York and very
Oh,
friendly
they're
with them.
tough.
We watch, yeah.
It's tough.
Yes, I talked about it with them this summer, so
So it was not.
they're not up here a lot.
Maybe,
They're not up
maybe,
here a lot.
maybe you guys can get us out of it. When are you planning on doing it, once you're approved?
March, so.
Okay, so then-
It doesn't hurt our timeline.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we'd love to get an approval, but that being said, we're here
Yeah.
to submit and then we'll come
Yeah.
back.
All right, my thinking is then, let's just accept it. Do we want a public hearing to be sure that the neighbors are aware? And again, that could be done at the same time, in the same month, in the beginning. Because both neighbors are not Speziali, because they live somewhere in the area. But
They're
the
my
others are,
immediate neighbors.
they're absent,
immediate-
both are
immediate.
absentee neighbors, in reality.
Well, they rent during the summer, during the winter.
These guys live in Winstead.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
I
that's
know the
it.
grandfather.
But they're not living in
My
the house.
grandfather's my neighbor.
Oh, yeah, he's a good.
You don't want to screw with him.
Him and I get along great, we do.
Listen.
He's a funny,
He's 92, he'll forget, don't worry about it.
he doesn't act it.
You're right, you're right, all right.
How high will this building be at the finished site? Less than the 35 feet?
Oh, yeah, we're not approaching
You
a
know what it
zoning
is,
type
Jeff?
restriction.
No.
It goes down, so it's down off the road.
The issue we have is every time I go in and out of that basement,
You
I
hit your
whack
head.
my head, it's 6 foot 1/2 inch from the rafters to the floor.
I think it's a great idea. Just double them up.
I can give you a business card too.
But
All right, question, do we need a public hearing?
No,
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
That's fine. Gary would never forgive me.
What's that? Yeah.
No, I don't feel we need a public hearing.
No, probably not.
Because you sent out the notice, right?
No, there's no notices
Oh, there's
out.
no notice because we're just accepting?
You know, a public hearing doesn't delay anything, it just ensures that their immediate and distant neighbors are aware of something, and
Fair enough.
And I was also thinking across the street, is it
Yeah.
gonna block the view over there? I don't know.
I'm gonna suggest that we have a public hearing, because I think it's appropriate, and especially that we don't know if the neighbors are informed, and it doesn't delay the approval at all, it's just a matter of, we take a few minutes ahead of time to give anybody in the audience an opportunity, if they have a position on the project, to talk about that position. Gary, you're not comfortable.
Well, I guess I'm,
No, you're not the only one.
I don't,
Excuse us.
I don't understand where we go with the public hearings as far as Jeff asked the question about being 4 foot higher. That's none of our business. We're here for wetlands. You're overstepping your bounds when you ask that question. That's a building thing, and that is in the state regulations.
But public hearing could be for public interest.
But,
And,
and this is where I was going with it. Now, he's gotta go in for a building permit. Doesn't the town do anything about that as far as with neighbors and stuff? Does the Wetlands Conservation Commission has to have a public hearing for him to raise a
It
building?
won't require a public hearing, no, but as part of the regular process of pulling building permits and zoning permits, it gets all those different reviews to make sure that it fits within the regulations.
And do they have to notify their neighbors?
Not unless there's a public hearing that's called.
But
But
that
that would,
would zoning do it? Is there anything other than wetlands? Because I'll be honest with you, that's out of our realm. That is
Are
not
they
us.
going to ZBA?
I don't think they need
No,
a
they don't need
no
to.
Jerry, you
variance for
wanted to
this
say
project.
something?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna echo Gary's statements a little bit, and Jeff's. You know, this is not much different than a typical, I mean, it's actually less scope than a typical single-family construction, new construction, which would not be subject to a public hearing, which, you know.
Unless we deemed it.
I mean, typically you hold a public hearing for a significant activity, because what you want to do with your jurisdiction is solicit input on potential impacts to the wetland, right? It's not your job to let the neighbors know that there's a construction project going on. It's your job to hear if there's potential impacts to the water course, wetlands, whatever you're adjacent to or impacting. In this case, I mean, I think if the commission looks at it and says, yeah, that we think that there's the potential for impact to the lake on this project, then maybe a public hearing makes sense. But, you know, if the commission doesn't feel as though there's gonna be an
I just
impact,
think-
and I can't see that there's much of one.
I just think that as a commission, we have, for public hearing, we have two choices. One for public interest, and the other is what you mentioned. This would be more in the realm of public interest as opposed to your concern, but we have that right for public interest.
You do, but
Yes.
remember that your jurisdiction is about the public trust. And so what is the information that you hold a public hearing so that you can get comments from the public, right? I mean, you're letting the public know that there's a project going on. Of course, they're gonna be subject to notification requirements. They're gonna have to mail their abutters, put up a sign. We have to put a public notice in the newspaper and all that stuff. But what is it that you are getting feedback on? You're getting feedback on potential negative impacts to the public trust, which is, in this case, the lake.
And I've always maintained the position, I want to be transparent. You know, one of the things being transparent is letting the public know if there may be a concern in our heads, not mine. If the consensus of the commission is that we don't need a public hearing, that's okay. If the consensus is that we do, that's okay too.
Well, I think where I stand on it is I look at it like going for a public hearing, then nobody can speak about anything other than the
Their
impact
concern.
no, I don't care about I don't care about the concerns of the building, the height, anything. That is not our job here. Our job is strictly the impact of erosion control to the lake.
Yeah. If there was, let's say they started this project and they found that the existing foundation actually couldn't take the
Wait,
the
whatever.
weight or whatever of what they're adding on, would that mean like, okay, now you're gonna have to disturb you're gonna have to disturb the earth,
Yeah,
area?
the scope of
Would
the-
they have to then come back in?
The scope of
Yes.
the project would have changed so much
Okay.
that they would need at least a modification, if not
That's
new
fine.
permits.
Yeah, okay.
And then you look at that on its face.
Right, okay, but they would have to come back.
Yes.
Okay. Then I think we're fine to
Good?
send
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Is
I
there-
mean, we could maybe make a condition that they hear from your neighbors that they're okay with it.
I'm not in favor of
Yeah, yeah.
conditions. Either we do it or we don't do
You
it.
can't do conditions. Don't
That
get
again
into
is not, Mary Ann, is
Yeah.
not us.
That's true, you're right.
No, don't get into conditions.
All right, so we're not in favor of public hearing.
So we're gonna
Is
accept,
there a motion to accept the application?
it's not to go to agent? We're
We
out
have
of
to
that?
accept
That's
it.
your call.
No, Jeff felt that we should deal with it.
Well, we sent it to you. We are getting in the habit of things that directly abut the lake, we're gonna send to you. It's a sensitive topic. There's a lot of focus on the water quality. We think
Okay.
it makes sense to send it to you,
Okay.
but that doesn't mean that you can't send it back to the agent. Again, it's about transparency. There's a project on the lake, you're gonna see it. If you think it meets the threshold, that you think it's a
Okay,
small
now
enough
let's
project to let the
okay.
agent do it, send it back to Jeff and he'll take care of it the next day. Or, within a quicker time frame. So.
I think this is not a major project, but it's tricky because of the amount of land that you actually own and your neighbors, so.
The other guy did.
We're not moving forward for a public hearing, but I would like to visit the site personally and walk around it, which I didn't do. I know where you live. I think most of us do, and we know what you want to do, but again, I don't know what questions might come to mind by looking at it rather than reading it. So I'm in favor of keeping the application with the commission, and so is there a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Thank you.
Second it?
Wait a minute, hang on.
Application,
25,
IWWC 2541, raise the existing building 4 feet.
thank you. All those in favor, of the second, Frank?
Yes.
All those in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, we'll see you next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to address the timeline issue, because I looked it up while we were sitting here. The payment for the application came in on December 22nd. So that's when it's considered a complete application, which was after your meeting date, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
The next application is, let the minutes reflect that Russ is back on the commission. Next application is 25-42. The applicant is George Clausen. The location is Main Street, map 101, block 101, lot 1012. And it's a after-the-fact application. It's to remove unsafe bridge over the Mad River, partial clearing of trees in the upper review area, and the removal of small foundation associated with a site cleanup. Is there an applicant present?
Yes, applicant's online for this one.
Okay. Want to bring him in?
Mike is up and running. Can you hear us, Mr. Barberino?
Yes, I can.
Okay, will you introduce yourself, please?
Well, I want to say one thing. Congratulations, your first meeting this year for the 250th anniversary of our country.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. Will you introduce yourself for the records, please?
Okay, my name is Steve Barberino Jr., and you may know me from Bristol, Connecticut. I have a car dealership there. And this property up here is with my brother and Billy Kovacs.
Okay. And talk to us about your project.
Pardon?
Talk to us about your project, what you'd like to do.
Well, the situation is, we've had signs, you know, no trespassing, but we've noticed some young children. This is not a safe bridge anymore. And the best thing we feel is just to remove the bridge and eliminate anything so that, you know, whether it's an adult or a child, nobody, you know, will get hurt there. And this is the best thing to do. I don't even want the insurance company to know what we have going on. I just want to get it down.
Okay, my understanding is that this project was started and somehow town personnel found out about it. Is that accurate?
That I don't know.
Jeff?
Yeah, that's accurate. This application is as a result of it didn't rise to the level of a violation because we were able to make contact and get this application in, but it is after the fact. The bridge itself has already been removed. After visiting the site, I would assume there's still further cleanup that needs to be done. Some debris had fallen, down that needs to be cleaned up on the waterfront and so on and so forth. And I further assume that there might be some additional grading, brush clearing, so on and so forth, but work has stopped completely until the application.
Is the site stable?
Yeah, it is stable, yeah.
It's froze.
Yes, that helps.
We'll make sure we get the site cleaned up properly. I mean, besides the car, I've built many houses since 1964, every development, many towns. And I've never, ever gone back on my word, which is something my father taught us all not to do that. Never have. But we'll make sure this is cleaned up and everything is right. That is the mission right here, to get this done.
I've been to the site there. I know the area pretty well. You do have a lot of debris that's now in the. I have some pictures. I don't know if we can get up here. It may not matter. There is some concrete debris. If you look right down where the bridge was, which is right over the river, which is why we're here, because it's a main water course in town, and any work on these rivers requires a permit. There is debris in the water there. I don't know if we have to look at it more exactly how we think that should be removed. There's concrete there. I certainly wouldn't want anything dug out down there, but maybe by hand pulling some of the debris out. The other issue, just since you're talking about safety, and I don't know if it's really within this purview of our, of this commission, but you do have, I don't know, there's a good 15-foot drop off. Do you know the site well? There's a good 15-foot drop off that you can just walk off. So partially there was a bridge, right, that went across it, and maybe I don't remember if there was safety netting there, but you still have quite a hazard there because somebody can literally walk right off the edge. You know, if safety is your concern, it might be something you might want to address because now you've got you've got that big drop off there. So that's,
No question. We will have to put a barrier across that with markings, no
Yeah.
trespassing on both sides.
sure.
And we will. Take any recommendation you like, because it's just, we gotta get this cleaned up, and we gotta get this, over for everybody.
I think our concern, one of the concerns of the commission is not having we don't know where the project's going, right? So we know that right now a bridge was taken out, should have probably had a permit before that, but I think we're all concerned about the scope of work moving ahead, right? Because we could say, well, yeah, it's kind of dangerous to have this big drop off now, and you could have said, well, we just figured we'd back grade the whole thing and get rid of it, right? And pull out the whole foundation, which would be a solution to it, but that would be a large construction project on a waterway that would, open up a larger set of plans required and potentially some engineering, and, it's a different thing. So, I mean, that's sort of one of my concerns is that, it turns into a bigger project moving ahead that we're not aware of. Anything moving ahead that's any bit of a project with an excavator or regrading is gonna require permits, just because it's right on the water there.
Well, I understand, and we haven't picked, anyone to do the work yet, but certainly whoever it is will sit down with staff and go through this thing so that everybody is happy how it's going to be approached and done. We're not gonna make one move until we get everybody
Okay.
happy.
Just to make it simpler for both the commission, the staff, and yourself, there's no detail in your application that talks about the remedy to the issue. So I think in order for us to move ahead with approval, and we want to approve this because it is impacting on the river, we need the detail and the scope of how you're going to approach the work and the concern that we have of making sure nothing falls into the river and so forth and so on. That's completely missing. So I'm gonna suggest that you meet with staff and your contractor, whomever that may be, and for next month's meeting, have a detailed, scenario of the approach that's been sort of approved by staff and something that you can move ahead with. Does that make sense to you, Mr. Barberino?
Please call me Steve. Mr. Barbarino passed away in 2001. I'm just Steve. Yes, it does. It makes total sense, and I absolutely, that's the way we will proceed.
Okay. Is there any questions or any concerns on the commission? Kevin, anything?
I mean, I just would like to look at it.
Yeah, I think we should look at it.
Yeah, we'll have an opportunity to look at it, and I'm gonna impose a deadline on it for you. I'd like, and be sure that you agree that by the next meeting, and the meeting for us it's the third Thursday in February, but our packets go out the Friday before. So I'll look it up and give you I don't have my phone. Could you look up the date the packets go out? What I'm saying is you have to have that information in our packet before they're distributed, so we have an opportunity to look at the packet and visit the site and see what you're contemplating. Is that clear?
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, there you go. So make it Thursday the 12th, Steve, okay?
Better day, Thursday the 12th.
All right, and seriously, aim a little earlier than that, so our secretary can put it together, and we have it in our packet when we pick it up that Friday or Saturday, all right?
That's fine.
Any questions? Go ahead, Jeff.
Or no, I just had one question. And moving ahead in the future, will there eventually plans to develop that area some more, or? Is there?
Not at this point.
Okay, I was just curious.
So you're just looking to stabilize it and remove any physical hazards and vegetate or whatever else is in the plan and leave it alone?
That's 100% what the plan is at this moment of time, and I don't foresee it changing.
Okay, then just make sure we get the details in our packets for next month. All right, is there a motion to accept?
I make a motion
Jamie?
to accept IWWC 25-42, applicant George Clausen for property at Main Street, map 101, block 101, lot 012.
All in favor? Go ahead.
Just wanna ask the applicant, if we wanna visit it, is it difficult to access?
No, it's easy, I'll tell you.
Okay, great.
What was the question? I'm sorry?
If we wanna visit the site, is it difficult to access for us?
No,
to-
it's right off the,
It's
right off
easy.
the road.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor of acceptance? All right, it's unanimous. Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks for your bringing us our anniversary information to the commission. Appreciate it. Happy New Year to you.
Just a note, if you do go there, just be careful, because you
Yeah,
can
don't walk off the earth.
You can walk literally right up to a 15-foot drop.
Okay, thank you for the warning.
So, yeah,
Approach with caution.
yeah, approach with caution.
Next application is 25-43, Eric Richards. And the address is 170 West Lake Street. And it's the demolition of an existing building which lies along Highland Lake Discharge Canal.
Come on up, Eric.
Hi, everybody.
Good, Happy New Year, Derek.
I'm gonna recuse myself.
Okay. Let the record show that Gary Paganelli is recusing himself. You want to introduce yourself, Eric, please?
Eric Richard, and just finally want to take down that old building that's left standing from the Union Pin.
Okay. If any of us, we all read, I'm sure, the staff reports, and there seems to be not a specific opinion as to whether or not we have jurisdiction or we don't. You want to explain that,
Yeah,
Jeff?
so we had asked Eric to come in for to submit an application because of the location. You've got the discharge canal from the lake, which runs right through his property, which is the outlet of the lake when the dam is open, or when the gate is open, rather. And so we looked at it as a kind of an intermittent water course, was our thinking. We did some more research. I talked to some colleagues after this came in, and when you look at the definition of an intermittent stream, it has to have two of the three following: evidence of scour of deposits or recent alluvium or detritus, presence of standing or flowing water for a duration longer than a storm event, and the presence of hydrophytic vegetation. Doesn't have hydrophytic vegetation. It is an old ditch, basically, that's kind of stone lined. Some parts are concrete, so that's out. Evidence of scour, no, really no evidence of scour. Is there some deposits? Yes, there are deposits, because we open up the dam to let it empty, so naturally there's deposits. Presence of flowing water for a duration longer than a particular storm event, only when the gate is open. So all of the folks that I talked to, who are much smarter than I am in this area, all agreed that the proper way to handle this was to bring it to the commission and have the commission review it and make a determination whether or not it should be treated as a intermittent stream. But our feeling was that no, the answer is it is not intermittent stream, because it only functions that way when the gate, which is man-made, of course the whole dam is man-made, but when the gate is open, the natural flow of water is down in the gully behind this property, about 160 feet from the location of the demolition.
But the water goes into the Mad River.
It does,
Yeah.
yes.
But not
Yep.
off, that's not coming off the spillways, doesn't go through this, right?
Coming off the spillway does not go through this, only when the gate is
Oh,
open.
so my question was hypothetically, if this application came in during the summertime after a heavy rain event and the spillway was functioning where water was going over the road and into some ditch,
Yeah.
is this a different ditch than the
This
one?
is a different ditch.
Okay.
This is a narrow channel that runs really, like right behind the building that we're talking about
All
here.
right, again,
It's
I
about
have some
maybe 6
pictures,
feet
but
wide
could
and
you
its
get
widest
those up?
point.
Would that help us in this discussion?
What's that?
Or is everybody, I had some pictures that I forwarded to Jeff. I don't know if it would be beneficial for people to see this, because there are two different water
But
courses
this
here.
does discharge into the Mad River.
It does, when the gate is
only,
open.
so what you're saying is only when the gate's open?
Only when the gate is open.
Only.
So right now, the gate is closed.
Closed, yeah.
Right. There's no water flowing through
Right.
it. It's,
Well,
I'm
there's
sure
water
there's.
in it.
Sure, left over, but once
Yeah.
that gate's been closed for a while, it's dry, because there's nothing flowing
Kevin,
into it.
talk.
What are the conditions in which the gate how often?
So there's a drawdown schedule for the lake, and to various depths, they drain it every winter, but, so the answer is every winter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fall.
Fall, yeah.
Yeah, what,
November, say,
October 1 or
December,
something like that?
or-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
October to January, something.
So there is though another water course, although this is outside of that, because you said it's 150 feet from the overflow.
That's correct.
And I'm having a hard, I see that, I'm having a little bit of a hard time, I'm looking at this project as the whole, a little bit, and I may be wrong, with the larger scope of it, which appears to be, you know, the lot clearing and the leveling, even though it was an old industrial site, seems to be part of a water course. It seems to be right up to the other water course. Now, that may be a separate issue.
So we're, right
somewhat,
now.
but it seems like it's all, to me, it's sort of like, this is that it is sort of all combined together. That we need to look at it as a whole drainage course, although right where his building is, I get it, it technically isn't. Meaning you could put a pipe there, correct? Like you could pipe all the water.
Yeah, you could.
You could cover it over.
Yeah.
If he wanted to. I'm not saying you do that, I'm just saying, but basically, that's really what it is, it's an overflow. that-
Eric, when are you planning on doing this?
I would say in the next month or two.
Next month or two. So if we accepted this as an application and we visited the site and sort of alleviating any of the concerns we might have, we're not moving anything back and we sort of are playing on the safe side of yes or no? Does that
I think we were playing on the safe side because we didn't want to,
Make
you
a
know.
decision.
Well, it wasn't that we didn't want to make a decision. We had sort of made the decision that we thought, you know, this made sense. What we didn't want to have is issue the demolition permit and then hear from 9 of you saying, what's going on out there? Why didn't we see this? And so that's why we brought it to you. And then we did a little bit more research after the application came in, and that's why we're having this conversation. And I'll just point out up on the screens, so you've got.
Use a pointer?
Yeah, I've got my,
Okay.
Can you see my cursor there?
Yeah.
Right.
So the spillway is here, right?
Right.
This is the section where the road drops down and
Is that the
there's
height?
actually one spillway here and
Okay.
the second one is over here, so the first
Right.
one's here.
That's the natural.
That's the natural, right, and you can
Right.
kind of see it channelizes and runs back into here, and you can see the natural stream course way over here. The building we're talking about being
There.
demolished is this. The gatehouse, where they open up that gate, is right here, and that gate comes out, and you can just barely make it out, but this here is a ditch which runs and takes a hard left turn and then runs back down to the natural water course. Now, the reason for that being there, of course, is it provided water power to the old Union Pin. The turbine is actually still there. There's a secondary channel which cuts to the left, cuts to the west right here, and runs down into a penstock, and I think the turbine is actually still down in there.
So basically, if we do the work now, it has nothing to do with the lake or anything else, or
Correct.
the outlet of lake,
Correct.
or the water course.
Right.
But it is a drainage that goes into a water course.
Right, like if debris is left behind and then the water, I think that's what Russ is driving at.
A little bit, yeah.
I think what Mary Ann and Frank are saying, if we allow this to happen without our involvement, do we have any control over how it's done and if it's done properly, other than, I think I respect Eric and it will be done right, but do we have any control over it?
Jeff and Keith, the building official, would have control over it. The commission, if you said, nope, we don't have jurisdiction, then the staff
Well,
still has
we technically
jurisdiction.
never go out and say we have control over it.
Right,
It's always you
right,
guys.
right,
So we're not taking anything away from your ability to monitor this and make sure it's done properly.
No.
Is that
No,
a
you're
fair
not.
statement?
And we would monitor that drainage canal and make sure that nothing is left behind. Actually, Eric did a little bit out there, because there was that first, I'll call it cutoff, that runs to the penstock. There was a wall sticking out into that existing channel, blocking the flow. So when the dam was open, when the gate was open, that water would hit that wall and overflow into his parking area, which probably causes more problems, right? Because now you've got all the silt and everything else. So we asked him to knock that chunk of wall out of the way so that water could flow. And he went in and did even more than that. He took a lot of old junk out of that canal that predated his ownership of the property. So
This is the right time of the year to do
Yes,
this,
yes.
before we get back into
Yeah.
operation of the gate and the raising of the lake and the leveling of the lake and everything else.
Yeah,
This is
between
the
now and
perfect
fall
time.
is great.
This is
So-
the perfect time to do it.
If we want you guys to move ahead and withdraw our involvement, what do we have to do?
I think you make a jurisdictional ruling that this is not considered an intermittent water course and you don't have jurisdiction.
And that would be in the form of a motion.
I would make a motion to that effect.
Is it an intermittent though, what we've determined?
Can meet 2 out of the 3 criteria.
Right.
What's that?
You can meet the criteria. You're
Okay.
supposed to meet 2 out of the 3 criteria that Jeremy discussed.
Right.
And they only met 1. So it's not an intermittent water course.
Are we comfortable with this?
I just want to ask a question. I know that whenever an application goes in, there's a Connecticut deed piece that also gets submitted. Would they flag this if it qualified as a brownfield remediation site?
No, they would not.
So how would anybody determine whether it is or isn't?
Oh, do you mean, would they flag the application or would they flag the site if it's a brownfield site?
Right.
If it has had a phase 1, that's usually what triggers DEPs and, hits that list of a brownfield site. And I don't know the history of
No,
whether or
that's
not
been
they've
cleared
done
up, the
phase 1 or
brownfield
phase
site, when the state,
Oh,
when the town
okay.
took over the property.
Oh, so then
That
they
was
probably
cleared
have
years
records
ago.
of it.
That's when the town took over the
The
property.
town did already the brownfield remediation.
Yes, that's all been remediated, yes. This is not a brownfield
You
site.
have to show that it's got a clean bill of health.
Right, okay.
I noticed there was some silt fencing. I mean, I'm gonna bring this up because it seems a little bit of a concern to me of the grading and all the work that's being done along above the river with the parking areas.
That was approved.
That was approved.
Approved
Okay,
previously.
okay, so that, but there's
That
no
was-
silt fences up or was there a drainage plan for any of that or? I'm not trying to open a can of worms. I go to a site and I'm like, oh, we got a big site cleared. I've missed some meetings over the years, but I'm not sure
That
of
was
the
approved
overall
in the zoning, that was approved by zoning.
zoning.
last year.
Okay, all right, yeah, I'm looking at it
Gave
because
them the
I
right to
see
do that.
land cleared above a water course
That got
that's
you.
separate from this, so I just figured I'd bring it up
So a
now.
couple of things too, just so you know, and I
Yeah.
think we've addressed this a couple times with the commission over the last 6-8 months. Jeff and I have been out there probably more times than Eric wants to even think about. And we've been, working with Eric closely on this.
Okay.
And you will eventually see a larger application for a larger development plan over there. I think he's got some long-term plans to put up a building and redo that parking area, which is an historic, that's pretty much all hard pack, either processed gravel or concrete, most of it's actually concrete slab. But you will see something at some point, because we've begun those conversations. But this one is focused just on the demo, so that he can kind of get in there,
Yeah, absolutely.
understand what his site looks like without that old building in the way, and then begin to formulate his long-term plan.
Are we good?
Yes.
Moving it back to the, all right, do we need somebody make a motion to that effect then?
So we move it over to agent approval or agent determination?
No,
How you want to do it?
approval.
It would be an agent determination, correct?
It would be, if you're going to rule that it is not an intermittent water course, then it's a jurisdictional ruling that it is not an intermittent water course and no wetland permit is needed, is ultimately what the motion would be.
All right, I'll make the motion then. IWWC 25-43, 170 Lake Street. Property owner is Eric Richard, that this is not a intermediate wetlands issue, and therefore should be accepted in its own merit. Is that correct?
I think that's fine.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
I'm gonna
You can
abstain.
vote, it's a new application,
Yeah,
if you choose to.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
not voting.
Okay.
Next option.
Anybody opposing
I'm gonna
approval?
oppose.
One,
Yeah.
2, 3? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The motion passes.
Who seconded that motion?
Jeff
Jeff
seconded.
did.
Jeff seconded. Okay.
And then we got 3 no's.
Yeah, I got that one, okay.
I just don't feel like we have enough information to make that determination. I don't know, but
All right, so the next application, or the last application under new business is 26-1, Mark Ricky at 740 Lake Drive. And the proposal is to remove existing detached two-car garage, which is worn and has no foundation, and replace it with an attached two-car garage and breezeway to be built where asphalt currently exists.
Correct.
Good evening. Introduce yourself once you're settled.
Sure.
Take your time.
Hi, I'm Mark Ricky, this is my wife Jill,
Hey, Joe.
and the application, like I said, is for 740 Lake Drive.
Okay?
And I put a brief description together for it, and so we propose removing the existing two-car garage, which it's worn out, doesn't have a foundation. It's close to the south side. It's only 3.9 feet away from the south side of the property. And it's very hard to back out of the garage. We want to replace that with an attached two-car garage and a breezeway attached to the house. And in addition, the new garage is pretty much taken up a lot where there's asphalt right there. And we also want to replace the worn roof on the house, and also we'll take down the garage, the existing garage, which the roof is shot there. And we also have a rotted deck. And above on the south side of the house, where the roof is worn across the whole thing, we want to put a second floor up there. And on the whole plan, we plan on putting gutters everywhere where the existing house in the garage doesn't have any gutters. And, excuse me. Dry wells. Yeah. And we propose adding dry wells from the gutters we'll dump into engineer's dry wells. We anticipate this will take place whenever we get the approval, rough estimate from March to September. And all the materials will be removed from the existing garage, roof and deck, via a dumpster, and a silt fence will be installed around the property during this project. And Tim Wiley did the print, the survey, and if you can look at the table, the zoning table, the existing layout, you can see the setbacks. The side yard setbacks went from 3.8 and 17.2 to 11.8 and 17.9. The rear also went from 18.5 to 23. And the impervious coverage, the square foot decreased slightly. And the impervious coverage was, the existing right now is 51%, and it's roughly going to 48.8%. Questions?
One of the questions I have, it's based on the scope of what you just described, is you're talking about what you want to do, but that's not in the proposal.
Okay.
You're limiting the proposal, I think you are anyway, to the garage and replacing it somewhere else. You didn't talk about the deck, you didn't talk about lots of other things.
There's no change to footprint.
Yeah, so the existing deck is rotted, we're just taking that down and replacing it. And the roof is shot, so we're gonna take the roof down.
Remove roof of what?
The roof of the house, the existing house, which is it's in the description. Remove the worn house roof and rotting deck and living space of the upstairs, and replace house roof deck without altering the current footprint.
Okay. So you're stating it in the proposal, but not on the application proposal.
Okay.
You're stating it in the narrative.
Right, correct.
But not on the application proposal.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay, I
Okay.
apologize.
No apologies, I just want to be sure that we're on the same page. Anybody with any questions or concerns for the applicant at this point? Yeah, Gary.
I don't think, I think the only thing I see is on a plan that we get at the next meeting, we have to have the silt fence delineated of where it's gonna be. something with the infiltrators. Somebody's got to design the infiltrators.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
For
that.
your,
Yes.
for your water, for your
Yep.
gutters, you know, where
We're
they're
already
gonna
in
be,
contact with them.
what's gonna take place, that's gonna dictate where you're gonna put your silt fence.
Okay.
You know, silt fence, the engineer should tell you, but it should be down around the front and the whole parse that covers you with everything. The house roof has really nothing to do with us, the deck has nothing to do with us. It's the excavation and everything for the garage and the, infiltrators that you put
Okay.
in. It's silt fence, erosion
Fence.
control. Okay, I don't know where else we're missing, or what else we're missing.
I'm gonna ask my usual question, which is, are you familiar with the low-impact development, opportunities? No, okay.
No, I'm not
So,
familiar with that.
you guys, maybe you guys can help them sort of understand what they can do
Can you
to-
explain it differently, please?
Yeah, the low-impact development, what's the,
It's really using nature to filter stormwater
Yeah,
and to
exactly.
handle
Oh, rain
infiltration.
garden,
And you're-
absolutely.
Yeah.
We are absolutely familiar with rain gardens, and we will absolutely
Okay, good.
intend to put one in. Do
Great.
you need that for,
You need that in the design
in the
of the.
design?
If you're going to use it to mitigate your stormwater, then yes.
Yeah.
If you're doing all of your stormwater mitigation through infiltrators, and then you'll do a rain garden on the side, you know, someday in the future, that's fine.
Okay.
But we need
Yeah.
to mitigate the first 1.3 inches of rainfall that hits that site, and so whether it's the rain garden or the infiltrators or a combination of the two, depending on the soil types you have out there. I mean, if you're all clay, a rain garden's probably gonna be your friend, as opposed to the infiltrators where it'll just fill up with water and it will never go anywhere. So that's where your engineer will come in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you are like almost 50% impervious, so.
But we're actually improving.
No, I understand you're improving, but the fact of the matter is, it's still gonna be a lot of water that's running off the house.
That property is pretty level though, too.
It is, relatively to other
Yeah, but it
properties on the
still
lake.
comes
Yeah, no,
off
I
the
know, I'm
house
just
and-
saying, it's not like a,
10 feet from the back, it's from 894 to 884, so it's 10 feet from where the garage is gonna be from the lake to the wall.
but how far is it from the garage to the wall?
It's like probably 110 maybe.
Well, that's,
So there's a 100-foot buffer, so probably 110. So are you're having an engineer design the infiltrators?
Yes,
Yes.
we submitted a, show them the one with the bid.
Yeah, we're actually interviewing some people that can do that for us.
would you have that in place, and would they be here for the next meeting?
We're gonna try our best to do that.
Only because if we have any specific questions,
Yep.
you know, we can, I don't want to delay the project because of questions that are unanswered, so to speak.
The proposed driveway I've been to the site, I saw, so the proposed driveway, that part of it, I'm looking at kind of two different things, is the beginning of the driveway is gonna be the pervious pavers, right?
No,
Or-
which,
Cause I have this little one that says drywall.
oh yeah, that's just,
Okay.
that's just kinda showing where we planned on
Oh, okay,
assuming put the dry wells, but this is the one, this is the latest.
right,
that's in
that's why, so
Okay.
this,
Okay,
this
there's no
proposed,
pervious pavers, it's all, gravel from, in the green dots, all the way to the garage, and then to the right and the left of that is all gonna be grass. All the way
Okay,
down the
alright.
left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side from the road, on the way down, it's gonna be grass to the right up till roughly 26 feet, rough estimate,
Okay.
and then it's existing gravel right now.
I got you, okay, that makes more
Which is a
sense
bolt
to me.
launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, those pervious pavers are, that went away.
Okay.
But like, even without us putting gutters on, there's no gutters on the existing house or garage right now. And just without doing any kind of additional water control, we've reduced the impervious from 51 to 48, rough estimate.
Jeremy and Jeff rather, in it, you're asking for more detail for the project to move forward. It's lacking erosion and sediment details, location of dry wells and engineering
Yep.
issues. Are they aware of?
They are, yep, they're aware. And it sounds like they're working on hiring an engineer to take care of all that for us.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
And
that'll
if
be-
that's not ready for the next meeting, the commission has 65 days timeline that they can approve in, so if it's not ready for the next meeting, we can bump you to the following meeting.
Okay.
So
And
just
it'd
be in touch
probably
with
be,
us.
if you know you're not ready, you can communicate to the town and just let them know that you're not ready, and you don't even have to show up, because we'll just put it on the agenda and
Okay.
indicate that you've asked for an extension.
Okay.
All right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, do we have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept application IWWC 26-1, the first one of the year. To remove a detached two-car garage and rebuild a two-car garage on the current pavement area attached to the house via breezeway. That's it, I'll accept it.
Is there a second, Gary? All those in favor of acceptance? It's unanimous? Okay, maybe we'll see you next month, hopefully we will.
Good luck.
And,
All right, thank you.
have a good one. Take your time.
Okay.
Was that from the last skiing trip?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Snowboard took me out.
Oh,
Yeah,
no!
December
Stick to skis.
Hey,
I was
watch it,
referring to the lake.
watch it.
No, oh, water skiing, no, I wish. I won't water ski this year, I know that.
Common sense.
Before we go to the next phase, I gotta ask a question. We accepted an application 2 years ago for 102 Shore Drive for retaining wall, and we went through that process. Then they came in about 2 months later to start for the renovation of the building itself. And then they pulled away from that. Right now, my understanding is they haven't I thought they had an active permit, but it turns out that the engineer told them to go and get the permit. They never did. And they've been working on the house now, on the retaining wall
I'm
for the last
confused.
month.
What job? What,
102 Shore Drive.
102, okay.
Can I make a suggestion, Frank? Why don't you talk to Jeff and Jeremy after the meeting and find out, because
Yeah, I'll have to research it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm
I've already
asking you to
marked it
do.
down,
Alright.
so, yeah.
If you do.
Okay.
Because the engineer now says he pulled away from the job.
All right.
So I don't know who's watching the job, where he is.
All right.
I'll look into it.
Thank you.
We finished new business, under agent determinations. Jeff, Jeremy, either one?
Yeah, just a couple. The first one, IWWC 25-39. This is the installation of a few workout amenities on the Greenway. Because of its location, it did require a permit, but I didn't think it rose to the level of having to come before you folks, so gave them that approval. Next is 898 Main Street. Is that the right address? Yes.
Yeah.
And this is for some minor outdoor work in association with the new restaurant that's going to be opening up there at the old Red Rooster. They're just going to be resurfacing the outdoor seating area with crushed stone. It's going to look like like you're at a fish house down by the shore kind of look. In addition to a 12-by-12 floating deck platform for when he brings in music acts and that kind of thing.
That's all on the north side of Main Street, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's within the upland review area?
Within the upper review area of the water course in the back.
There's a water
Yeah.
course
Oh, in the
behind
back.
it.
They're on both sides, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is that
Wasn't
Indian
that
Meadow
yours?
technically, that's
Yeah.
called?
You
Yeah.
saw
Yeah,
it?
Indian Meadow.
You abstaining?
Wasn't it yours?
Yeah, my kids.
Oh, your kids,
So again, minor stuff, so we gave them the approval on that, and the next one is for a new fence, because it's in the Highland Lake District, it requires a special permit from Planning and Zoning Commission, so they're working on that with them, but as far as I'm concerned, the fence installation itself is so minor that, you know, they don't need to come here, but they're just following the process there. So those are the few from the last month.
Nothing under as of right determinations?
No, they got all those out of the way at the beginning of the winter. I haven't heard more requests for that since.
And the violation is still, hasn't had a court hearing yet?
Yeah, that we had our first court hearing, and the judge said come back in
March, February,
yeah, I
something?
forget the exact date. I think I've shared it with you in the past, but yeah, so that's still carrying. As you guys know, that dock never went back in the water this season. Unfortunately, the for sale sign is now down where that was up all summer. So I don't know what the plans are there, but no active violation, quote unquote.
Well, why don't we keep our foot on the gas with that?
Oh, yeah.
You know, silence isn't bliss in this case. Just where we get this settled once and for all.
That's the
Good.
hope.
All right, under discussions, anything? The Twin Lakes letter, Jeff, you want to do, talking about that meeting you went to?
Yeah, actually, I just found this. So, there was a meeting of several, more than several, bunch of different town commissions regarding activity around Highland Lake. And I just found a letter that actually invited everybody to it, so we would like to call a meeting to include the chairs or the designees of the Land Use Commissions, Conservative Commission, Water Sewer Commission, EDC, HLWA, Ad hoc Water Level Committee, DPW, Recreation Department, and other related town staff to have an all-encompassing discussion of different issues we've been facing separately. So,
Who put that out?
These guys.
Oh.
so Steve couldn't make it, so he asked me to attend. Mary Ann was there, you two guys were there. You were there also.
Yeah, Kevin was there. I think these guys are gonna do a report on it.
Can you do it tonight?
Well, not a full report, but
Well, good.
yeah,
Steve asked
we
me
could
to,
save
I
you
was just
from.
gonna say, Jeremy introduced the website, and then Jim talked about Vaughn's Lane and some drainage, and then go ahead and take it away. I did make copies of what Candy said.
Okay.
Oh, well, I don't care.
What we tried to do was pull together the commissions that have something to do with the lake, so that's why Wetlands was there, P&Z was there, Conservation was there, and along with staff that is involved with water quality health. Highland Lake, but townwide, so Public Works, ourselves, Parks and Rec, I forgot who else was there. Police Department, right, for enforcement issues. And so the idea going forward is to get this group together a couple of times a year, just to make sure that we're all sort of marching in the same direction. We're all on the same boat, rowing in the same direction. Ultimately, we're going to meet again in February. There was good discussion about moving forward with perhaps some suggested changes to the zoning regulations. And so this group is gonna, I think right now the focus is going to be trying to update our regulatory framework on the Planning and Zoning Commission side so that we are focusing on water quality health townwide. And so, we have sort of a list of priorities. We're gonna go back in February, meet with the group again, have a discussion about, okay, here are our list of maybe 10 bullet pointed priorities, and then we'll start to put together a suggested zoning regulation that will go in front of the P&Z with. And most likely that's gonna be changes to stormwater management section of the zoning regulations and the LID section of the regulations, because the town of Winchester currently has its own LID section, which I think most likely predates the state manual on LID. And quite frankly, the state manual is thorough, and we probably should be pointing to that as opposed to using our own LID manual or our own LID regulations, but then increasing our oversight on stormwater management townwide. So that's kind of the synopsis of that meeting. So we're gonna meet again in February. We'll probably meet again. And we recognize the committee, the group that was there recognizes the need to get out in front of this thing and publicize it and get the public on board, because there are going to be impacts to homeowners. There's going to be changes to the way things are done. It's not going to be positive or negative necessarily. It's all about keeping our body of water up there and all of them in good condition, which is good for everybody. But we just need to make sure that folks understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, so that we can get them on board, so that we have cooperation moving forward.
Yeah, I just wanna say, like, when we had that big meeting the year before, or 2 meetings, the new stormwater management regulations that came from the state were so eye-opening, because of the increased stormwater, the bigger storm systems that we're seeing. So I think we really do have to catch up.
Yeah, we do.
Jim brought that up. Rollins discussed quite a bit about this MS4
Yes.
requirement.
State requirement.
Coming down the road, so that's
Yes.
gonna have a big impact
That's an
on.
expensive piece of negotiations.
Yeah, it's a huge project that he's looking
Well-
at. So that was something that Jim talked about.
Yeah,
I don't know much about it.
he mentioned it to me about a year ago, that they were at the other end of the state, and they were moving this way.
Right.
And I know when we did it with the city, what they were looking for was not by project, but how much you spend per capita on your stormwater. And their numbers were, in the city, was high, and we fought for years not to follow the footsteps that they wanted.
So that would probably take effect over the next 5 years, within the next 5 years, you think?
Well, he said they were negotiating over in Candlewood Lake Part in New Medford, and that was taking 5 years, and they were moving this way. And they were only about a year ago, was starting talking to him in light discussion. But that's what it is. They want to know how much money you're spending on your stormwater protection
And a lot
per
of
capita.
reporting too, from what he was saying.
What?
A lot of reporting too, that.
Oh,
that
it's,
was required by.
yes, a lot of
A lot of
reporting,
data.
but but the number is by your head count, by what your population is, how much money are you actually spending? And their numbers, I know in New York State, were very high.
So that's a negotiable thing? You
Well-
negotiate with the state, or is this?
Well, let's put it this way, I was there for 20 years with this, on the stormwater side, and we negotiated all 20 years, we never gave in. We never got to a point of an agreement, we just kept negotiating it away, because the numbers were just, not what, it's not what was the money, and what they wanted you to do was not effective to what you wanted to do. Okay, that was the other thing, they were coming up with these ridiculous projects that you never saw a need for.
Okay, well, we don't wanna do that.
No, that's what I mean, so that's why I say you negotiate, you just keep negotiating it down the road.
And you're gonna be in that negotiating committee?
I don't know, I mentioned it to Jim, he never got back to me, but I'm saying,
The goal of MS4 is to reduce your point source pollution. So those direct discharges to water bodies. That's the ultimate goal, is to reduce the amount of those that you have. And I believe in there is a yearly goal of a 2% reduction each year. So, you're trying to, ultimately what you're trying to do is take your stormwater from the roads, and rather than dumping it right into the nearest stream, treat it before it gets into the stream.
now you're
So
talking
that,
about treating stormwater, tanking it, because it had to go someplace to wait while it got treated, so you were building these enormous underground tanks.
You need an
yeah,
extensive
in
sewer.
New York City, it's an undertaking. Out here, it's a little bit easier, because, and we've, I've dealt with this in other towns, and what you, in some cases, what you do is you take the stormwater pipe and you dig it up and you install a rain garden and you send it through, a channelized system where you're treating that water as it goes. Some cases it's an underground infiltrator, whatever. I mean, every site is specific, but the goal is to reduce point source pollution.
There was a lot of discussion, I think, you and I talked a lot about it during this meeting, concerning the LID pushing all applicants to lower their impervious coverage by using the buffers
LID
or LID.
guidelines.
And everybody kind of felt that we should push the applicants to putting them into their site plans when they come in. And we were thinking that once we start this with the engineers that present to us, I think over 6 months or a year, they'll just automatically do it. They wanna, as you see when Rob Colbell, for instance, comes in here, he knows what we're looking for.
It's
So,
already there.
and it's there, right,
Yeah.
so he already puts in, when he goes and sells it to a customer, well, I can get you approved by wetlands, and this is what we do, we'll put a rain garden in, and we'll slide it through.
I found over the years, the best applications are the ones that are submitted by the engineer rather than by the applicant.
When I was looking at Ricky's package today, I'm thinking,
It's a lot,
all right, it's not a tough site.
That's the difference.
But, you know, everywhere else we have site plans.
That's the
an
difference.
engineered site plan.
Yep.
So I'm glad you guys brought that up.
Yep.
Or whoever did it.
Well, and also some lakes just require that, right? The
Right,
buffer
and
gardens.
I think,
Yeah.
you know, I think ultimately, my guess is that that's the direction the zoning regulations will go, and I've written those types of regulations where you require a buffer strip. New Hampshire's doing it, Maine does it statewide. You are requiring a buffer strip so that stormwater, whether it's coming off the yard or off the house or whatever it is, there's kind of a last line of treatment before it just free flows off into the lake.
So you mean the broken rock all along the shoreline?
It could be that, but it also could be a vegetated buffer, right? So
That's
We
what
used
they
to
do
do
on
the
Long Island
vegetated
now.
buffers a lot, we used to recommend them.
I used to
kinda got away
recommend
from
them.
What's that?
I used to recommend them.
No, but they were on plans, I remember seeing them on plans
You know,
years
I-
ago.
Is this just our policy that we accept if it's reducing the impervious coverage that we accept it? Is that just our policy or is
We
that?
don't
No,
have
that-
that.
The LID.
There's no policy
Wait,
at all.
when
That's
is
just
it?
our.
Hang on, Marion.
It's not us, that is zoning.
Yeah.
That is zoning, not
Not
us.
So,
Has nothing to do with us impervious.
But the LID guidelines do involve things that we oversee, like rain gardens and stuff. Wait, let me just finish. And what they allow for, Jeff, is rather than the 15%
Right.
coverage, it gives them an extra 5%.
Right.
So that's why it gets a little bit confusing, because what they have to do to get that extra 5% is the kind of stuff that we have purview over.
that's what I'm getting at.
Well, we
here,
tried
is
to
that-
go before with that buffer zone out front, when Mary Ann was on before, to where you had to leave certain size trees in front of your house, you had to put trees in front of your house. Most of your lakes in New Hampshire and Vermont have that.
Yeah.
You can't cut the trees, you can't cut anything over 2 inches down in front of your house.
So we
without
just
going
can't make
through
an
permits.
internal policy that whenever the impervious coverage is over 35%, that we want to see some kind of LID.
Because that has to go
Well,
through zoning.
that's exactly what
That's what we're
they're
trying to do through the
trying to
zoning
do.
regulations. No, you can't just arbitrarily doing it. I mean, it has to be written somewhere.
Yeah, it
You know,
has
if
to
it was
be
in
in
your
the
wetlands
regulations.
regulations, that's fine, but you've got to tie that back scientifically to
Yeah.
the.
That's my
So
question.
I think,
Is it just our
think,
policy or is it a?
yeah, I think the place to do it is in a stormwater management section of
Yeah.
the zoning regulations.
Exactly.
Because that way, when somebody's designing the plan, they're gonna look at both things. They're gonna look to zoning first, most likely. And then when they find out that they're within the wetlands area, they will have already designed their site plan to have a lot of that stuff in there.
The other thing we talked about in that meeting, I think you brought it up, Jeremy, was expanding the review area from 75 feet to 100 feet, because there are a lot of things that happen like across the street that then, of course, affect the water quality. So I guess that's something that needs to be discussed too.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should probably take a holistic look at these water bodies, especially Highland, and figure out what the average depth of those lake frontage properties is, right? So, and again, I went through this in another community where we had a 100-foot upland review area, and the vast majority of the parcels that surrounded the lake with lake frontage were about 200 feet deep. And we thought, well, we're only regulating half the property.
Right.
Up above it, they're getting away with everything up there, you know? So we increased the URA to 200 to capture the whole property for the most part, so.
Couldn't you actually say that around the lakes and stuff, you could go from the road to the lake? You know, Connecticut River Assembly, they go from the Connecticut River to 91.
I think you
Connecticut
could.
River to Route 5.
Yeah, you're right,
something to that
you're
nature.
absolutely right, yep. They use,
You know,
they,
so then you had a 200-foot lot, it's still in that regulation.
yeah, so you could define your upland review area around Highland Lake as east and west Wakefield Boulevard and, you know, whatever else is
Yeah.
surrounding it, yeah.
Exactly.
You know, but the disparity is tremendous.
Smart.
It is, right.
You know, if you look at houses on Shore Drive, and they're lucky they're 60, 70 feet from the water
Yeah.
to the street. And then you look at Carry Point or Wheeler's Point or any of the others, the street to the tip of Wheeler's Point could be 500 feet, 400 feet.
Right, but I think you're going from the street out to the
Out.
water.
So I would think
At
you'd
that
want to
point
have
in
a
time, you're
minimum
going from the street.
Yeah, but
to the
again,
point
still.
out both ways.
Carries Point then, you know,
But you'd wanna take,
There will be
because
sites
some of them are
across the
50
street
foot,
that- Yeah.
you'd wanna put
You have some,
covenant that it is
some
from East
sites that
Wakefield
have
to West
10 feet
Wakefield.
of waterfront, and the road.
hang on, guys, one at a time.
So,
Or a minimum of 200 feet.
Yeah.
You
Right.
understand?
I
It's
think
these
something like
streets
that.
or a minimum of 200
Yeah.
feet. You have to
I
write
think
something
that's-
into it because of the short lots and you got the guy across the street.
Right.
You
I
know?
think that's smart, Gary.
All right,
And the other thing, just specifically, because it's on my mind, because Jim talked about it in this meeting, and then he talked about it in a Board of Selectmen meeting in December. He contracted with Ty and Bond, an engineering company, to do a whole survey with him around the lake of like stormwater, issue areas around the lake, and to help him to kind of stack rank the ones that are the most offending first, and start the conversation about, what the mitigation, suggestions might be. So that was encouraging, and it started with, a focus on, the discussion with he and Ty and Bond was a focus on Norwood, which we know, is pretty bad.
Those are streets?
And Vaughn's Lane, yeah.
Right, those are the streets that discharge all the gravel off
Yeah,
into the road.
exactly. So those may end up becoming the ones that are on the top of the list, who knows, but that's underway. I thought that was very encouraging.
Yeah, it is, because it's been like that forever, and at some point you have to say, well, we need to make a move here, do something.
$1 million or $2 million.
He has bond money some bond money, yeah, so this is to help him determine how best to spend the remaining bond money for
is there a
this.
timeline to the spending and?
I don't know, but I think our
Right.
selectman here might be able
Yeah,
to
I
tell
know.
us. You're not sure, okay, Bill's not sure, but I don't think he's gonna lose the bond money, it's just a matter of he doesn't have enough to do all of it. So he has to prioritize the worst spots with the remaining bond money,
All right,
yeah.
little by little, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, and on
We
that
are.
note, along Norwood, some of the lots are owned by the Highland Lake Watershed Association, so let's say that they say, well, if you put retention pools along the side, then maybe Jim, the town, can talk to Highland Lake Watershed Association about using those lots for retention pools.
They're owned by the land trust or the association?
The Highland Lake Watershed Association.
That's great.
Good idea.
Good thinking.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's the position, I mean, with MS4 and everything else, that's the position the town will eventually be in is, we don't own a lot of land around the lake. So when we're trying to do these stormwater treatments instead of the direct pipe, you end up needing easements from private property owners. So if, Watershed Association owns a bunch of them, we can use some of that, we'll need to, and again, I've been in that position too, where the town was soliciting easements. We were asking for easements to do
The Watershed
stormwater.
Association,
work.
Mike Peacock, the elder, for years was trying to buy up as many of those little picnic lots as possible for this purpose, right? So that stormwater issues could potentially be supported by those lots.
Perfect.
You done with that, Steve?
Yeah, are we done? Are we done with it? We comfortable?
Yeah, there's something else
Go ahead.
that's been bugging me for several months. And I wrote it down, so I won't forget it this month. A lot of times applicants come in and they have a desire that they want to put the dock in, and there's a boat lift there, and there's a jet ski lift over here, and we don't know if it's been permitted previously or not. So I was thinking, and this will put a little work on your staff, probably on Shane, but does it make sense to have her go through the property prior to the application and get a list of what is actually permitted for that property? That would be submitted with the application.
We ran across that last month, where an applicant wanted to put stairs in, and we gave them approval to put stairs, and I raised the question, you know, the length of your dock, and then you have two pieces sitting on the side that are gonna go out in front. Are they permitted? And they said, I don't know.
Right.
And, you know,
Right.
So it's come up several times.
yeah.
Yeah, comes up a lot.
So, I don't know if you want Shane to do that, or. if
Makes
it
sense.
works,
Well, we'll try to streamline as much as possible. We've been making a lot of edits lately to the OpenGov permit portal system, trying to streamline all those different applications. So we could start by simply adding some questions to those applications. Do you have waterfront features? Are they permitted? You know, give us proof of the permit. If they can't, we can check our files, all that kind of stuff. But some do, some don't, right? But that's where you gotta start the question.
I did my project
Yeah.
10 years
But it's a
ago.
good point, because if they're coming in for X, but we could also address Y, you
Well,
know,
that's
let's do
only,
all at once.
we're only limited if X and Y are on the waterfront.
Right, but if they're coming in and we find out they have other issues,
Right.
No,
that's
no.
research.
If they come in and they wanna rebuild a house and not touch their waterfront, we're quiet. We have no say in that at all.
But if we make that part of the application,
Right, then we're not silent.
According to Kevin Mulligan, I think, and.
well, we're two different things.
Go ahead.
If they ask for the house, we can't force them to do the waterfront. That's what Kevin says. If in the application process, they said, we came for the house, but we also now realize we want to make the waterfront right.
Then we control what they do.
Yeah.
Right, because they're
They're
applying
asking
for
for something in the
both.
water.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Also, I didn't want to set up unrealistic expectations, but I'm gonna tell you, remember a few meetings ago when I said I had video of the whole waterfront that I took? And so I'm halfway through screenshotting every single property on the waterfront and putting it into a spreadsheet.
No one's gonna like you.
There's a picture, and there's a note about how many structures or whatever they have in front of the house. So, I will give that to you guys.
Thanks.
Oh, gee, that's what we need in our
And
lives.
you can check it against OpenGov, like what you have digitally can be checked against that. I don't know if anyone's gonna have the time or the bandwidth to go back pre-OpenGov, right, to paper, but anyway, you will have that within probably, like, I'm gonna say 6 weeks.
Okay.
You know what, so long as we're putting things out on the table that are of concern, we've had several applicants where, when the sense from the applicant's perspective is that the commission is putting demands on them, or restrictions on them, or so forth and so on, they withdraw their application. They got everything wrong in the waterfront, and they want to correct some of it, but when we say you have to correct all of it to our satisfaction rather than what you want, they withdraw their application, and their whole waterfront is illegal because they withdrew their application, and we're no longer involved in the process with them. To me, once they expose themselves and come before us, to withdraw shouldn't silence us.
Right.
You know, we should have a right that they open the door, you know, and now our foot is in it, let's do something about it, and we don't. You know, the answer is, well, they withdrew the application, so we can't do anything. So that's
Well, then
something.
it becomes an enforcement issue, right?
No,
Or
I
there's
mean,
just no oversight of it,
I
you're
don't
saying?
know.
Or it just disappears
I
off
don't know. I don't-
off everybody's purview?
Goes back to what it was.
Which,
Yeah.
They're just walking out the door, so
They
there's
just
too much
do it.
aggravation here, I'm gonna go back to what I
Well, let
had.
me ask you
Yeah.
a question. Bringing what you just said, I haven't done much walking this winter because of my back, but I ran into somebody finishing up a job on the thing, and I said, I don't remember you being at our meeting to get a permit. He says, oh, I don't get permits. I says, wait a minute. I says, well, I'm gonna call you in, you know. He says, I've got 35 jobs on this lake, and not one of my clients go and get a permit. Now, we had a very light workload this winter
I find that hard to
compared to
believe.
what I was told you did in 2020.
Is there a question?
Well, I'm just saying is, somebody's gotta be out there watching.
35?
He said, I got well over 35
You know,
jobs,
I don't buy that.
clients.
You know,
I
if
mean,
we
we
say-
had
say
a
it was
very,
half of that,
we
that's
had
still
a
a
very
problem,
light
right?
I don't
workload.
think
compared to what you guys said in 2020.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, last meeting, I think Steve suggested that since there are 9 of us, we each take a territory and we, you know,
Who suggested that?
you did.
No, I didn't. Get out of here.
Maybe it was Gary.
Not me.
Someone suggested it,
No,
wasn't me.
we talked about, actually,
It wasn't me.
I may have said that we had a more open discussion, not about lake, but of other watersheds.
Yeah.
Right.
We have a lot, you brought up the point that we have a lot of focus on the lake.
Right.
And that there's stuff going on all over that we don't see, and you're the enforcement officer, you only have a limited amount of time
But if you
to
gave us
go
each a little,
see these things,
a little
correct?
area of town to like, you know, go tool around in every now and again, we could back
I
you
don't
up.
think I'd be making assignments. I could say if you see something and report it to
Right.
me, you know.
But is that
we
the
go
scope
down the
of your
road.
job, or, you know, maybe that scope's changing, but traditionally was the scope of an enforcement, I mean, you had many roles, but was part of the scope of that to essentially drive around and look for problems, or no?
It's not usually how we operate.
Yeah.
Right.
He'd
So
be
you
driving
rely,
around all
so
day.
zoning and blight enforcement relies it relies on neighbors.
Not entirely. It's a two-part process. I mean,
Right.
we are out in the field occasionally, probably not as much as we should be. If we see something,
Right.
we'll go
But
after it.
you're not
But
essentially
the other part is
take
complaints.
a 1-week drive and drive through neighborhoods and just kind of look around. That's not within the scope of your.
I wish I
job.
had that kind of time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
It's about
Yeah, no.
manpower.
It's a matter
Yeah.
of time.
It's about
you
man.
know.
Yeah, okay.
Russ is coming from the last guy we had hidden in bushes with cameras.
I'm not doing that.
What guy? What are you talking about?
Did he really hide in the
Michael
bushes?
drove around on
Yeah.
Monday morning, he drove around the lake on Monday morning, I used to see him when I walked. He was driving around to see what changes were made over the weekend.
Well, isn't that a good thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
he went to work, I think, for Torrington or
Right.
wherever he left,
Right.
Mansfield.
Mansfield, whatever he
Okay.
went, but I mean, that's what he did.
All right,
Should we
guys.
move on?
Yeah. Mary Lynn, anything with Highland Lake?
Jamie's
Oh,
got that.
Jamie?
I had it here a minute ago. Shane provided a couple of handouts that were
Okay,
part
okay.
of my presentation, and that was,
What did I do with it?
the Twin Lakes about the hydrilla.
Okay.
Okay, I had here before, what did I do with it?
It's an online event. It's in the packet, but January 27th, 7 to 8:30, East Twin Hydrilla. So they did a big study, right, because they had a hydrilla problem, and they had to mitigate the problem. So they're offering this opportunity for people to basically learn from what they had to deal with.
And then, well, the Highland Lake Spring Cleanup is gonna be on May 2nd this year, Saturday. Meet at Risha Beach, but the time is yet to be determined. And then, Farmington River Watershed, they did get the grant, and there was this other information also provided by Shane. And they just want people to participate in the meetings going forward.
Any response or anything? I had asked Jeff if he gets a copy of the Highland Lake Watershed Association newsletter, and you said no, right?
Well, they're put out on the table in the hallway.
I then discussed that. I get a mailing, you get a mailing, I think Jeff should get a mailing, you should have to go out onto the table to look for one. But the reason why I bring it up is because I think there were articles in the association newsletter where there should be more direct involvement with inland wetlands. Things that are happening that, in my opinion, we should be involved with, we're not aware of. I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, prior to the drawdown, a shallow drawdown, all of a sudden, we found out really in a very inconspicuous way, that the boat launch was gonna be closed a week earlier for renovations and repairs and this and that. And, you know, we didn't know about it as part of this commission. And, you know, it was negotiated between the Highland Lake Watershed Association and people in Deep and the state.
Oh, no,
Oh, yes.
No, wasn't it Deep told everybody when it was gonna
They
happen?
didn't tell us.
Well, all I'm saying is, they only told the Highland Lake Watershed Association, like, very, very late in the
That's
game.
not- I
No,
think-
I was part of the Highland Lake Watershed Association when it happened. They told Highland Lake Watershed Association very late in the game, and the only reason they told Highland Lake Watershed Association was because the Watershed Association agreed to take on the responsibility to maintain the retention pools that they were putting in.
I'm not challenging the accuracy of that statement, but I don't agree with it, really. I think,
I mean,
I
I
just
was
think-
there. I love you, Steve, but I was there.
in my conversations with people, there was more involvement with the Highland Lake Watershed Association than what you described, and earlier involvement. We had no knowledge of it at all.
Involvement as it related to the retention pools
Yeah,
going in.
but what about the whole negotiation?
The Highland Lake Watershed Association had nothing to do with the paving.
They were involved in it.
No, no.
No, not the pavement, they were
but-
knowledgeable.
But they shut it down for the paving, and that was a very last-minute scheduled thing. The Watershed Association had knowledge of what was gonna go on with the retention pools because they are taking on the responsibility to maintain them. So they're two different things that were inside of one project that the state decided to schedule when they decided to schedule it.
So the retention, I have a quick question. So the retention pools are part of the state boat launch in grassy areas? Is that where they'd be?
Yeah, if you-
Where, so
if
you have the
you-
stormwater that leaves the, I'm assuming this is stormwater that leaves the parking lot, goes in through that to
Yeah.
filter down.
Yep,
Why doesn't the state take care of them?
good question.
Or why would they even ask? And what is the maintenance of that?
Well, you have to keep them, weeded and keep junk out of them, clean them out.
How big is it? I'll have to go look. I'm just curious if the state would then.
They're pretty big.
Yeah, I don't know the size.
Yeah. No, I just find it interesting the state would ask a lake association to do maintenance on their property. Not that it's wrong, I'm like, that's,
I'm just guessing, but they probably wouldn't put it in otherwise because they knew they weren't gonna maintain it.
Yeah.
It's like sidewalks for DOT. They're not gonna maintain the sidewalks even though they're in the DOT right of way.
yeah, okay.
Same.
Well, I'm glad someone's taking care of them.
Anyway,
But-
my
but
point is,
Steve, here's the good news. Now, when that happened, we didn't have a liaison relationship with Highland Lake Watershed Association. Now we do.
I think we did.
I don't think so.
Somebody who's no longer on the board was a
Oh,
liaison.
okay,
So there
okay.
was a liaison.
Right, okay, well, I think that was a failure of communication on the liaison's part, probably. But, I gave Jamie all of this information last week, and it's,
All right.
communication's gonna happen.
My strong feeling is that I think there should be a better sharing of communication between our commission and the Highland Lake Watershed Association Board, okay? There's an article in here which makes reference to reduced nutrient runoff, help keep the road area near your house clean of debris, excessive nutrients can promote, maintain unfertilized shoreline buffer zone. Those are our areas of concern, and, if the Highland Lake Association would meet with us or you and through us and promote that the greater need for rain gardens and things of that sort, we may get somewhere.
Well, so Jamie, you're in the HLWA?
No, I am.
I know you are. You're not on?
They're two of them liaisons to it.
Okay. Just you.
Yeah.
All right, it's just a point. Let's see where we go with it.
Well, I think it's great, just what you brought up, at least somebody's writing down, which is something we hardly ever talk about here, is nutrient load.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, at least it started somewhere,
But we're
that
not-
it was even mentioned to me.
Well, by
as-
the
as-
But
way,
we're not
it was
part of
al-
the solution.
Right, no,
We're not
but
part of the
I-
solution.
It was
at
also
least it's
written
out there, I
about,
guess my
it was
point.
written about in 2 other newsletters last year, right? So
Right.
there was another article about it last summer, and then there was my article that Gary helped me write about pervious, pervious coverage. So it has been talked about. What I think Steve is bringing up is like, how can we work together better
To promote it more.
to promote it
Yeah,
more,
because it's
right?
been talked about, and
Yeah.
I'm
And I
all
agree
for
with
that.
you, 100%.
Okay, all right. Any other thing under other business? There's a calendar change, Jeremy or Jeff?
Yeah, so we need to work on rescheduling the June 18th meeting, because Juneteenth, the 19th falls on Friday, and the town's holiday schedule is that when a holiday falls on Friday, which is a half day, it eats into Thursday and makes that a shorter day.
Change your contract, change your contract.
That's actually all happening, long story short, the meeting on the 18th, town hall would be closed, so we're looking to adjust that,
Do we want
either
to-
a week or a day, up to you.
Let's be frank. Do we want to keep it on a Thursday, or do we want to move it to the day before?
It's up to you guys.
I'm
Any
cool to
preference?
do it the day before. Is the room available
For
the
me,
day
it
before?
works, I
That's
have
a good
I have a.
You're right, you're right.
I have
To
a,
benefit you guys.
put it,
I got another
Wait,
meeting on
wait,
the
one at a
7th,
time.
but I-
For,
but-
for staff, Thursday is better. Jeremy wouldn't be able to join us if it were Wednesday.
Thursday's
so for with
better.
that.
So then
Yeah,
we,
that's good.
do we want to move it up a week or back a week?
Let's move it.
up a week, of course, and you need a holiday.
Well,
Well, I was gonna say, if we go forward a week, then it won't mess up people's applications. If we make it earlier,
Oh, they
it
got
might mess
Less
up
time.
people's.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So 25th.
Happy birthday.
Well,
It's a big one, too.
Oh, all right, you got
You're
one
a
of those?
Cancer.
all
Gonna
right,
be
so
60?
what's the consensus? Do we want to, hang on, come on, let's get this done. Do we want to move up a date, or do we
No,
want?
she's right, for the applications, yeah.
25th, because
25th.
if we move it earlier, people don't have as much time for their
For the
application.
Well, then the same thing happens in July. They have less time also.
No, because
No, no.
July meeting.
No, July is dead.
It's the same.
July
day.
is
We're not shifting the schedule.
but Steve's point is, for anything that gets accepted on the 25th, they've only got 3 weeks
3
for the
weeks,
next one.
then,
So
you
it
know.
doesn't, you're, whatever, it doesn't.
Cancel the meeting.
Is there any way you can change your late date? Let's keep it simple and move to a Wednesday? The day
No, no,
before?
it's not about that.
Okay.
I cannot be at this meeting. I have another meeting on the 17th, so.
Oh, no
and I-
matter what?
No
Okay.
matter what. I am tied up
Period.
the 17th. I have
Okay.
another meeting, yes.
Could we function without you?
We could.
I suppose you could, yeah.
So then why don't we move it the day before and keep it simple?
Work for everyone?
All right? Good?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
I'm good.
Okay, so the June meeting will be June 17th, correct?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. That was easier said than done. Public Works, Russ, anything? And Jeff, anything?
I
Would you
called
make-
him today, he says he's really not doing anything other than
Okay.
budgets.
We talked about the Highland Lake Watershed Association liaison, we talked about that. Selectmen, anything? Nothing? Are we, what's happening with that, the suggestion from the selectmen that we allow any exception?
Nothing at this time.
Okay,
You gonna do anything with the mooring ordinance?
all right.
What happens with that?
The buoy it's quiet, they'll move on it, we can't do anything till they, you know. The buoy regulations and wakeboards, kind of just ongoing. Anything new, Mary Ann? Do you hear anything new out there?
Does the state have a time frame on that? When they're gonna?
Because the state's doing a big research survey, right?
Yeah, I'm not
I don't
aware
know
of
what
a
the
time frame. Mary Ann, will your audit include buoys?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
might be
yeah,
useful.
because it's all, yes, because the images were taken when it was Labor Day.
Okay.
So everything was in.
It's not Google Street View, it's Mary Ann's Lake View is what it is, right?
All right, and the dock and mooring ordinance, we just talked about very briefly. Anything else before we close the meeting?
Very quickly, Mr. Chairman, one thing, that the state passed legislation last year that requires all wetlands commissioners and staff, so all of us, to go through the DEP wetlands training this year. Between now and the end of the year, I'll get you out something in an email. The legislation used to be that one commission member had to be trained and certified. It is now that all of you have to be trained, and staff. We all have to be trained and certified.
How many sessions is the training?
It is an online course. It is a total of 8 hours, and I think you have up to a month to get that 8 hours done. And then there's a test at the end.
Have they updated it at all?
Can my
Yeah.
granddaughter do it?
Oh, cool.
What's the training?
What's that?
What is it training?
It's like a video training.
Yeah,
right?
it's a video training. It's
Kind of things?
it's
What is it?
it's the wetlands law.
Just
It's-
for wetlands?
Yeah, it's just the wetlands. Yeah,
And we have until
Not going for the
next
housing.
December.
you have until December 31st. No, not housing. It's all just wetlands.
I went through that already.
Yeah, we've gone through those day-long things, but it
Oh,
sounds like this
Bar
is a little
Association.
different.
The Bar Association training.
This was the
Yeah.
Yukon one?
Yeah, this is well, it's not even UConn. It's Connecticut DEP that does it. Yeah, and it is focused on the wetlands law. Yeah.
Anything else? We all good?
I move to adjourn.
Second? All those in favor? Okay, everybody, thank you. See everyone next month.
Gary, gotta give you a hug.
That was easy. Still went about 45 minutes later than it did.
Yeah, well, right. That's a.
Yeah. Fair enough.
What do you mean we're below the items?
You do?
It's probably his last birthday, I would've been able to go to South Africa.
They are gonna do, because I thought they decided not
They moved to
to.
another house, but they're gonna still plan on going